That word you just heard repeats 5 times in a row, twice in the song. Half the native Japanese speakers who've listened to this track have no idea it's doing 2 completely different things at the same time. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to connect 3 things that don't look like they belong together. A 2007 creepypasta posted on a Japanese internet forum. A rapper's statement about what happens to his music after he dies. And the moment, which has already happened, when you pressed play. Those 3 things are the same event. The song is called. And if you've already heard it, then it's already gotten in. You may know this song from Dandadan, the 2024 anime that opens with it. You may know it from the charts. If you watched our last episode, Creepy Nuts was there too, Bling Bang Born, episode 002. That one was about one word that sounds like show me and means it. This one goes somewhere else entirely. A different band. A different word. A different kind of possession. I'm beyond the subtitles. Episode 003. Creepy Nuts is the opening theme for Dandadan, a 2024 anime from Science Saru, based on a manga by Ryu Yukinobu. First episode, October 3, 2024. Streamed on Netflix and Crunchyroll internationally. The show is, in brief, a comedy horror about high school students who discover that both aliens and ghosts are real, and that they can fight them. Creepy Nuts are on lyrics and DJ on production. You know them from 002. What you might not know is that R is, in his own words, a lifelong fan of Sharehowa, the Japanese internet's genre of ghost stories too real to be funny. The term comes from a phrase that translates as a horror story so genuinely frightening that it's no longer funny. And the song's central word comes from one specific story, posted on February 5, 2007, on the 2-channel occult board. The thread was titled, "Can we collect horror stories so scary they stop being funny?" The poster's name was Yamanoke. The story is called Yamanoke. A man takes his daughter on a drive into the mountains. To scare her, he turns down an unpaved side road at night. They pull over. The daughter, who was asleep, wakes up suddenly and begins to murmur over and over.
入れた入れた入れた.
Something has gotten in. The creature she's channeling, the Yamanoke, is described as entirely white, no head, face set into its chest at heart level, one leg. It approaches grinning. In the story, if you don't address what's happened within 49 days, the daughter never comes back. That story is where the song's central word comes from. Let's take it apart. In the Yamanoke story, this is a sign. The daughter murmuring it means the creature is inside her. The word functions as a confirmation of possession, it has entered. The repetition makes it a chant. The chant makes it contagious. Now look at the kanji that sits underneath the same sound.
入れた.
Hirita. To have put in. To have inserted. To have let something enter. In modern Japanese, hiru is a common verb, to enter, to go in, to fit inside. The past form means simply, it went in. It entered. It was placed inside. The Yamanoke says as katakana, the script you use for sounds, foreign words, emphasis, things that are not quite Japanese. The song writes it the same way. Katakana is untethered from its kanji root. The sound is there. The meaning hovers underneath without anchoring. R named the song. Here's what he said about where that title came from, in an interview with Ainen magazine in October 2024. I'm quoting directly. Same as, I thought, when I'm dead and hundreds of years from now a listener hears my music and thinks this track is incredible, I'll be entering this world through their ears from the next world. To enter. Hundreds of years from now, through your ears. The title breaks down as oto, sound, plus, no with possessive particle, plus, kuri same suffix as, meaning supernatural entity or apparition. Direct translation, the ghost of sound, or the sound apparition. R took, the mountain's apparition, and replaced, yama, mountain, with oto, sound. The yokai's habitat changed. The mechanism of possession did not. And this is where the song's structure becomes something unusual. Every time you've heard in the song, you were hearing it in both registers at once. You were hearing the possessed daughter confirming the creature is inside her, the 2007 ghost storyline. And you were hearing RS declaration that his music has entered the listener's ears, the 2024 artist survival statement. These are not 2 separate meanings that the songwriter layered intentionally, one on top of the other, like a puzzle. R confirmed the title's origin from Yamanoke. He confirmed the metaphor of musical afterlife through the listener's ears. Whether the convergence of the two in a single word was fully calculated or whether it emerged from the music and the story pressing against each other, we don't know. What we know is, the word works both ways. It has always worked both ways. And here is the part that closes the loop. The song exists on Spotify. You pressed play. The audio entered your auditory cortex. At that moment, regardless of what you knew or didn't know about Yamanoke, regardless of whether you'd ever heard of RS afterlife statement, had already happened. It was already inside you. One more layer, briefly. The song also contains the line, Otsukaresama desu. You know, the standard Japanese farewell, you've worked hard, you must be tired. Same pronunciation. Different kanji. Tsukere, possessed. Thank you for being possessed. The song greets the listener in a phrase they already know, but swaps one kanji, the way a face stays familiar while something behind the eyes has changed. The word gives us a foothold. But Japanese has a whole vocabulary built around the concept of invisible forces entering, occupying, or acting on human bodies. And what's unusual about this vocabulary is its grammatical structure, specifically, who is doing what to whom. 4 words. Each one describes something entering or affecting a person. Each one distributes agency differently.
Tsuku.
Suku. The kanji is built from kokoro, heart/mind, and hyo, to lean on, to press against. The full character means to press against the heart from outside. To cling to the vessel. When something, it does not push the person's self aside, it inhabits alongside. The person is still there. Something else is also there. The Japanese 3-point set. Suku, literal, to press onto the heart, meaning, to possess, to cling to a living vessel.
Tataru.
Tataru. Built from, shutsu, to emerge, to come out, and, sure, the ritual altar radical, indicating divine or supernatural origin. When something, a god or spirit comes out through the ritual space and acts on the world. It is not personal, it is cosmological. The spirit does not choose you. You are in the wrong place when it comes through. Tataru, literal, divine emergence through the ritual gate, meaning, to curse, to bring divine punishment, the force is not aimed, you are simply in the way.
Sawaru.
Sawaru. The radical, the fu, an earthen mound, a barrier, plus, show, a pattern or chapter. The combined image is of something that blocks a passage, a force that stops you in a corridor rather than entering you. When something, it does not occupy you. It blocks your path and waits. Sawaru, literal, to block the passage, meaning, to afflict or harm, used in phrases like, bad for the body, but also in older usage for spiritual interference.
Yoru.
Yoru. A softer word than the others. Mion, the roof radical, enclosure, plus, ki, strange, unusual. The image is of something strange drawing close under shelter. When something toward you, it has moved in your direction, it has not yet entered. Yoru, literal, something strange drawing close under cover, meaning, to approach, to come near, in supernatural usage, the moment just before possession. What these 4 share is grammatical ambiguity about agency. Who is doing what? When you say, I was possessed, Japanese grammar does not insist you name the possessor. The possessor is implied. The possessed is foreground. The English passive I was possessed requires a by to name the agent, I was possessed by something. Japanese does not. The agent can stay invisible. This is vessel language. The human is the container. The force is the content. The grammar reflects the relationship. The vessel does not act on the content arrives. And briefly, one classical note. In the Genji Monogatari, the spirit of Lady Rokujo separates from her sleeping body and acts on others, harming Genji's lovers through a kind of involuntary haunting. Japanese literature from the 10th century onward has a name for this, Mononoke. The ghost of a thing. The same ku as. The same suffix, 1200 years older. There is a term in Western psychology for what happens when a song enters your head and refuses to leave. Earworm. The technical term is INMI, involuntary musical imagery, coined in research by Victoria Williamson at Goldsmiths, University of London, and studied extensively by James Calares at the University of Cincinnati, who became widely known in this field in the early 2000s. The numbers are striking. Studies suggest that close to 98% of people have experienced this, a song that enters without permission and replays without stopping. Calares found that songs with lyrics stick significantly more than instrumental music. The lyric itself is the hook. Williamson identified 4 categories for how it starts: direct exposure to the music, a memory that triggers it, an emotional state, or, most relevant here, a state of low attention. When your mind isn't busy, something else moves in. Western psychology looks at this as a property of the auditory cortex and the phonological loop, a short-term memory system in the brain that keeps refreshing the sound pattern because the pattern activates the brain's reward system without completing it. The song is always just about to resolve. So it keeps playing. Japanese folklore looks at the same phenomenon and says, the sound has entered you. It is now here, in your body, refusing to leave. This is not a metaphor. This is the operational description of what means. Neither explanation is wrong. They are accounts of the same thing from different sides of the threshold. Neuroscience describes the mechanism inside the skull. Folk cosmology describes the relationship between the outside force and the inside person. R.S. statement, that he would enter future listeners' ears through his music, hundreds of years after his death, sits at exactly this threshold. It is simultaneously a scientific prediction, the song will activate someone's auditory cortex in the future, and a supernatural one, I will be in there. What makes this more than a clever observation is what it says about the design of the word itself. In the Yamanoke story, the word is already doing earworm work, a strange syllable cluster repeated 5 times, designed to stick. The possessed daughter murmurs it repeatedly not because she is explaining what happened but because repetition is how possession sounds from the outside. Repetition is how earworms sound from the inside. The same structure. And the song does this deliberately. Appears at the same position in the verse twice, B melody, twice. Not once. The repetition is built into the architecture. We don't know whether or designed all of this the way a novelist plots a chapter. What we know is that the song produces it. The word was chosen from a story where it already worked as a sonic trap. The song repeats it in the same way. The science says, that's exactly how something gets inside a person's head and stays. If you're still hearing right now, after this video, after days, you have your data point. 2 things to do after this video. First, go back to episode 002. Bling Bang Born. The word there was, the living, unmediated body. The word here is, what enters that body after the person who made the sound is gone. Reduplication was at work in 0022. The structures rhyme. Listening to both back to back is its own kind of close reading. Second, if you want to read the original Yamanoke story, the creator, Yamanoke, is still active. He posts on Note and X. The 2007 text is preserved and archived. The link is in the description. It's short, 500 words. Read it once, then listen to the song again, and notice what you hear differently. Spotify link for is in the description, official embed, 1 click. Subscribe if this kind of thing is what you come to YouTube for. Substack has the long-form article with all the source links, the kanji breakdowns in more depth, and the etymology notes. And in the comments, what song is currently stuck in your head right now, and for how long? I want to know. Thanks for watching. See you in 2 weeks.